Buenas, ¿cómo estamos? Alberto.
No, pero
One o'clock.
Sharp. ¿Cómo está Rafael? I'm still here sharing the live in my Facebook too. How are you, man?
I try to create a few things. It's difficult to control it all from here. I wanted to do some ads and that, but I haven't been able to. Can you hear me well? Can you see me well?
Yeah. I'm gonna switch this over here.
Can you hear me?
Fine, perfectly fine. All good.
We like it when it's work in progress, no?
Yes, well, it's there is a. You can watch our live broadcast today from YouTube, our channel on YouTube, and from Facebook, our CinemaAttic, the main page. And then the YouTube broadcast is copied and broadcast at the same time to CinemaAttic London, Bristol, and Manchester. We removed it from the website just because the last week it was too much. It was too much going on, and it gave us some technical problems. But once the broadcast is finished, we will upload the video there, so people who are not in Facebook or YouTube or whatever, they can see it. Also, every other broadcast, every other Vermut we have done, this is week 12. Week 12. I don't know. I was a John Haley fellow when I started all this. All those are archived in our website with the programs and the comments, and obviously the Vermut, the interview with the directors, the chats we're having. It's a good legacy. It's a good summary resume of what happened in the Ibero-American, Latin American short film world during the last 10 years. Certainly, we don't have every other film that has ever been made there, but all those which are in the lists, 90 short films, are certainly part of it. And
indeed, Rafa, how's been your week? How was your week? Have you seen any stranger this week?
Anything stranger, but no. A bit the same, really. This kind of new normality is a bit of a monotonous one, no? It's I just getting out a bit more often now with the puppy, and still trying to watch more films, but not managing to watch as much as is available out there. So quite impressed actually when we were talking the other day about the numbers for Cuarentena, and we got, I don't know how much it was, 20,000 people had landed in our different programs, no, along the last 12 weeks. And we had a reach of over 500,000 people through Facebook, and we were big in Ikishawa in Japan or something like that, and remote areas of Argentina, and even in our hometown, Madrid, some people were watching it. So yeah.
I've been busy, as you can see. I've not been able to remove the background.
Oh yes. I didn't want to be. It didn't want to be. It's the first time I go out in 3 months.
Should I just?
It was a part Alberto's 30th. Yes, you thought he was still in his teens, but no, the man is just in his 30th. And
it's a colorful version.
Yeah, happy birthday again. Well, talking about this week, let's start with our guests. We will be talking to Alex Castellanos and Carlos Santa. Both have been here with us. Carlos was last year, I believe, January 2018, or 19, no, 2019. And Alex was the previous February 18. So we keep in touch with our friends all over the place. Alex will be speaking from Mexico, talking about her, well, the work they do in Cassiopeia, her latest short film, Reset. We will try, technical problems permitting, to show some clips of Alex's latest job, work, Reset, and also a bit of the work that Carlos is doing in Santiago de Cali. On top of that, Alberto and I will be going like every week over the program of this week.
Over the films, we will be drinking. What are you drinking today, Rafa?
I'm being a good boy today. I can't drink today. Well, I may have a wee break. The thing we may be running a bit late, so that's why your fans are here.
Camila from Mexico, actually. Camila's tuning in from Mexico too.
Uy.
There you go.
Our most
Monica, there you go. Rafa is like God. He's able to choose comments. Choose Alan. I've seen Alan commenting there and Pat.
Hola amigos. Hola Alan. How you doing? Hola Monica. Hola Camila. Everyone, welcome. Well,
it feels like the things that we like, no, Rafa? Like things vanishing. Like, the end is near.
Well, I need a
the end is coming close. Sure.
If you watch all the Vermuts from start to end in order, in chronological order, you will see Alberto and myself hairdos changing from a very short in myself in this explanation to really this kind of, you know what I mean? I could almost, my curls are coming back.
Punset. Te estás convirtiendo en Eduard Punset.
Punset.
In the late Punset.
Well, before we start divagating, can we go for the Maite Alberti and Guidre Sikite?
No, this is the end. Let's just talk about debauchery. Let's not talk about films.
It's not the end. We are still on next week, Alberto.
Very superstitious. We're gonna finish on the week 13.
Week 13.
The lucky 13. Unlucky. So yeah, this is almost the last Vermut, guys. There will be a last one and probably will be special next Sunday. But yeah, let's go ahead, Raf. It's a good idea. I've received a lot of comments praising the program this week. Personal messages and messages we received through email. So it seems like people liked the selection this week. I think we've been moving.
Well, what is not to like there? It's an amazing. It's an amazing collection of films. We always say this, and we always will say this. Obviously, how you wanna not say that? But the thing is, what is the summary of what we've been doing for the last 10 years, more than 10 years? Some of the films obviously are even older. Bancos belongs to last century, and I'm doing it again with volumes and speakers and that. So yes, it's an amazing collection of great short films from all over the place. We start with this one. I am not from here. It's filmed in Peru, isn't it?
It's in Chile. Somewhere in Chile.
Protagonist, which actually is she has this kind of the Basque thing of I'm not Spanish, I'm Basque. And she's very determined. At the beginning, that takes a bit over the short film. It feels that it's about that. Well, the minute you go beyond that thin layer, you discover a lot more, no, about displacement, about elder age, about getting. I'm not going to say anything about dementia, but certainly her attitude is a bit too strong to be accepted.
It's not that she's determined, Rafa. It's that she's Basque, just like that.
Yeah, I always tend to run away from topics. I'm sure there's a lot of Basque people who are not so strong on their opinions, and in particular when she's speaking with people from Chile. And you were locked in a residence with people from Madrid, I will understand her attitude maybe, and maybe not. But in Chile, I'm not living here. I'm just passing by. I'm going to stay a few days and go back to Renteria. So it's a bit of a reflection on that late age, on that attitude on keeping your marbles all together. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's It is beautiful, it's uncomfortable, it makes you feel really uncomfortable because you might argue whether that is, Parkinson, dementia, what it is, but obviously Josebe is struggling with memory, time, place, and she's Basque, she's stubborn, she feels very Basque, and there's really a mixture. There's like a labyrinth as the film goes on, no? And you feel in a labyrinth, in that kind of labyrinth that maybe Josebe state of mind is just, these days. It's a beautiful film that, if I'm not wrong, was born part of one of these labs or markets in Europe, in Copenhagen, in the CPH Docs, a Lithuanian and a Chilean filmmakers, documentary filmmakers met. They became good friends, and they did this film. Obviously, a Basque refugee in Chile. It was a small tribute, a small homage, a glimpse of a day in a care home. They've been, in the spotlight since this started, and it was a small tribute to workers, to the people that inhabit care homes, and the reality there. There is at times happy, at times incredibly sad, bittersweet. But yeah, I love the simplicity of the film and that kind of documentary focusing on the small details, that telephone number, those scenes, those yeah.
Yes. At some point, she convinced one of the Chilean residents in the residency, that he's from Bilbao. When I actually believe he's not.
No, he's not. Obviously, what is happening there is that he's trying to have a conversation, a normal conversation, but he realizes that they cannot, because Josebe's mind is not well, and she thinks she's in Renteria, so he just goes along. No, he just said, yes, I'm from Bilbao, and that's a sweet way to finish the film. Is as life is, and eventually, I'm sure Rafa, you and I don't know if we will end up our days with a good state of memory after so much.
Well, like my memory has been always top notch, so really not scared of that.
How dare you? How dare you?
Perfectly
you
fine.
called me Alberto Valverde Sanchez like last week or something.
That is incidental, and it's not really. I hear somebody knocking the door and scratching the doors, and she's not a human member of my family. So we may have our furry friend guest as well. Dementia is something that it scares everybody, because it affects everyone, even the sharpest minds. I mean, there's not going into names, but there's very important people that at that age forgets, and it worries everybody. I mean, what can you do? Keep living, keep watching films while you remember them.
Yeah, but yeah, great film, absolutely.
Certainly, one memory I wouldn't like to lose is the bancos, and those times in Seville. We were talking to Santiago Amodeo and Alberto Rodriguez last week, and it was fair just to put this film, and we went over a few things, historic things, like it was the first film made in Seville in quite a long time. I mean, obviously this is not strictly true. There were things made for television, but it is true that there was a first generation, there was a generation gap between people making cinema, making films in Andalusia, and the previous people who had done that. Gonzalo's and Miguel Alvarez and all these people. So Bancos is great. It's great. It's a film noir, comedy, Alex O'Doherty kicking ass big time. The film really has its moments that gets you holding to it and going strong for it. And I just wish this wasn't a short film, it was a feature film, and we get to see what Alex does with the bank once he gets into the bank, no?
Yeah, you feel they said they were living in in the mid 90s in London, and you can see the influence probably of, if I'm not wrong, Trainspotting in this film, 1997, Lock and Stock, 1998. You really feel the influence of that type of new social British cinema or whatever, the influence of traditional classic money heist films, no, there is a genre on its own. Almost, the influence of Lucio, the documentary about the anarchists that did the big sting. It's like I don't need to actually rob a bank. I just need to feel that I can, that they are fragile somehow, no? That I can steal it. No.
The film was made on a shoestring. Obviously, everybody chipping in, and they managed to get this kind of support from their people, from their community around Alameda de Hércules, and yes, it set up the stage for the next film, which was obviously the El Factor Pilgrim, and it brought a brand new industry to Seville when it wasn't there. The black and white, the characters, the derelict place where Alex O'Herty is testing, is preparing every move that he's gonna make. But there are obviously film noir, and I think I had a very small chat with Alberto Rodrigo when we were talking about the Vermut on this. No, another person who recently had done a bank robbery film was Leon Simiani. Let's get it right, or Alberto will correct me in public. And I know that Alberto and Elias are friends, and they talk about this and that. And Elias has participated in this Doré Cuarentena initiative. So one Spanish director introduced a film they like in filming. Elias shoots the Red Circle by Melville, a film from
Pierre Melville.
Yes, but black and white, absolutely amazing. Everything prepared meticulously, and the way he presents the film is like a long, very long, I don't know, 12 minutes voice message on the character of his. How you say it in English? Apuntes para una película de atracos.
Notes for a money heist, I think was the title.
The character, no? And then he answered back with the film, and they are talking about that. It seems so believable. It seems that this could be done in that way, no? And Bancos is the same. It feels like everybody is at reach of everyone, not to do a money heist, to break into a bank to get the cash and run away and get away with it.
Yeah, it has that flavor of love for the classic money heist, for the sting, for the for this type of films, and that influence of those films in the runaway. You really feel like the initial scene of Trainspotting. But I really like what you were saying also. The locations in this film, like that kind of journey from the bank to the supermarket where he works. I really love how the landscape changes, in that runaway. But anyway, next up, another film, with kind of, post-apocalyptic. Or last week we could see a puma, no, and now we have more derelict spaces and surreal, apocalyptic, dystopian cities.
Understand what happened there. I mean, it seems like a post-industrial era. Because you see industries there, heavy industry going, but you don't see anyone. And then there's these characters trying to get some information from some other people, and in the middle of all of it appears this kind of delicatessen character almost, no? Like she lives in a windmill.
Amélie, delicatessen, kind of typical French.
Fantastic. Diego Modino. But do you know more other films from this director?
He went on to do feature films, and I think he did well. But I picked this one because, again, it's part of those 2014, 2015 years in Summer Hall that we feel so close, no?
No, definitely. This is one of the Summer Hall feeling. Summerhill is the old veterinary university here in Edinburgh, and it turned into an art center, I don't know, it was 10 years ago, no, more, maybe 15, 20 years ago. The legend goes that some old artist was the beneficiary of inheritance that he didn't know existed. And somebody knocked at the door and said, "Are you such and such?" Yes. And, and he received a fortune and spent it buying this building and turning it into an arts center. There's many venues. Some of them are fantastic. We have done screenings on the old dissection room. So you have this kind of very steep steps where the students will sit almost on top of the doctor. And that used to be our headquarters for many years. We were there, I don't know, 4 years at least, every month. Mm-hmm. So some of the films that we show, they bring me back completely to that lecture theater at Summerhill. And this is one of them, how cold was the room.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Our taste might have changed and we might like more radical, formal, experimental films, but we cannot resist the pleasure of watching films like Ephemera, because it drives us back to those days, and because we just love it. There's a charm that is impossible to resist. I personally got, after this film, I remember, maybe I spent 4 years without watching it again, or 5 years or whatever, but the song, the song of the credits, C'est Magnifique, no? I think it's a traditional, like a Cole Porter song, but that specific version got stuck in my head, and I couldn't stop singing and singing and singing, and I couldn't find the version until a couple of weeks ago that I was preparing the materials, and I finally found this version by Luis Mariano that is brilliant. I just think the song over the credits, and obviously it has that flavor, as you were saying, of delicatessen, Amélie, dreamy small film with Asunción Balaguer, the great Spanish actress, and the wee girl, and this mixture, of just a ballet trial, a ballet tryout, and and these mobs, these gangsters, just I love the contrast and the flavor that gives you at the end of the film. Yeah.
Yes. It's certainly. I don't even know where to start. I mean, the mix, the contrast. In cinema, you like those films to look at a paradox, no? And obviously, we are looking at the film. We know that the girl is in the completely wrong place, and we are seeing how she wins the very bad guys with her charming face, and obviously I don't think it's a spoiler when he turns up as an audition for a very famous character that it's a completely bucket of paint on a white canvas. She arrives there. It's so difficult to talk about a film without giving any spoilers. Leave it to say enough to say that
Es la canción que llega de París, la, se magnifica.
Love that. Love that song so much.
Okay, sorry if I look down a bit. It's not I'm embarrassed about Alberto. I'm totally used for his things. It's just the case is starting to wake up in South America and start asking questions.
Yes, we're halfway through, no? We're taking time with the films today. And it follows, because this film kind of integrates that kind of CGI animation landscape, computer-generated landscape, and we go to a very traditional style of animation, no? With that same flavor, dreamy flavor, but very, very sad. That is the employment, el empleo, no?
Yes. Santiago Bou, Brazo.
Mm-hmm. 6 minutes, and it has so much in it.
Well, it was a film that won all over the place. You can see the list, and it's not a comprehensive one. It won in many other places. It's a audience pleaser. It's very well rendered. And the story, obviously, they can make absolutely every audience feel sympathize with the character, because we are always, all of us feel at some point like that going to work. No? What do you think, Alberto?
I love it. And if you remember, we were watching Vienna Shorts a couple of weeks ago, and they were doing a best of the first. So, you know, the selection of best short films they've shown in recent years, and he was there as well. And it's a film that he completely went all over the place. More, you know, selective and boutique festivals, more popular ones. Everyone loves this film. It's 6 minutes. It's, you know, it's so powerful. It reminds me a bit like Morning Cowboy. It's so universal. We're all part of this. We can all relate. You know, this nonsense of, you know, some sort of post, you know, revolution mechanical system where we just go to offices and we just, you know, we become half machines, no?
Yes, yes. Well, the fact that they use human beings to represent objects, and to represent, obviously, even the traffic lights or chairs and things like that, no? It goes a bit, I mean, it's a good continuation from the previous one, no? It kind of, what are we turning into? It's a reflection on the human beings going forward, no? It seems that just earning money is not enough to fulfill our purpose, no? And it's a very good reflection, each one in its way. Obviously, the previous one, Ephemera, with that girl and that song, but art and beauty and innocence and pure of heart will always win. Whereas here, yeah, we need
everything's gone. Yeah, here everything's gone. Everything is so nice and pathetic at the same time. No, the little toast he prepares in the morning, the clock, the sound of the clock, everything is sweet and pathetic. And there's constantly that feeling of you have to serve somebody, no? Like, and it makes you think a little bit, like, obviously, where our chairs come from, where, you know, everything is made by humans.
Yeah,
we don't see the humans behind.
Second layer of information, no? Where are they coming from? But we're talking about people and people trying to find a purpose in life and that. Not on the other.
Wow.
What do you think here? I don't know if having, I mean, I have reflected or discussed this with friends in the past. Why Ernest Hemingway is such inspirational novel, and why so many people follow it, his legend, his more than his real acts, his legend. And when I discovered that there were a lookalike Ernest Hemingway conference in Florida, like an Elvis Presley or something like that in Las Vegas, I was freaking out big time. And the mix of Ernest Hemingway with the San Fermins, the poor man must have done so many other things in his life, wrote so many books, well, not so many, but so important. And that is the red scarf, white shirt, and him running around, which I'm pretty sure he never ran in front of the woods.
He never. That's the film all about, no? That's the film all about. It's about desire. It's about otherness. It's about wanting to be someone else and creating a persona, no, throughout your life. Because you can tell in all of the Sergio Oxman and Carlos Mugiro films, you cannot tell where the fiction ends and the reality of the story starts. No, they like to keep this mystery and confusion around what's true and what's not.
Yes. No, and also the space in this film, because you have Florida with these Ernest Hemingway lookalikes, but also you got the how is called the street in Pamplona where they run Estafeta.
Estafeta, sí.
And the corner shop with the guy lying there and his son taking pictures, and I think that's the strongest point of what makes this film such a strong one, that everything goes together. And
you know what? Yeah, you know what's so strong? Like with the Motlins, the film that we showed like 3 weeks ago, I think, is the power of a story. No, you feel that the guys doing this are the same guys that are doing the Motlins, so you very soon feel like, oh, here they are again. No, it's same resources, archive material, flying free story that might be true or might be not, and the sense of narration, of slowly paced narration, and great storytelling. For me, is the element of great storytelling, and that's what they have. This duo, Oxman Mugiro. But the film is so good, and you see those guys, and you can obviously laugh a bit about this side of American culture, no? That they have to. You laugh about Chinese or Japanese trying to imitate some of these things, but then you see Americans doing this contest, and you think that you do that, but they do the same. If you see like a Twin Peaks gathering and everyone is dressing up like Gordon Cole or whatever, or Dale Cooper, and they Robert De Bruce. I think they do somewhere in the US. They do like an annual gathering, and they.
Yeah, we should probably do a Curro Jimenez one. So this bandolero culture to Scotland.
Antonio Banderas in the Mexican or something, and they.
There was a project that never went to anything, and we were going to do a challenge to the guys, our friends in in Matchbox Cinema. And we were going to do a challenge, Antonio Banderas versus Keanu Reeves. No, Keanu Reeves, no. The other actor.
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage. We were going to get them facing each other. We need to call Sean and Megan and see if they are still interested, or maybe they are still running away.
Watch out! Some of these mad ideas that we have in a box here, you shouldn't share them here. They're so brilliant to be shared. Someone can come and organize the first Antonio Banderas Film Festival.
Well, listen, the last of the short films before we get to speak with our guests. Alex is already waiting in the waiting room with our fantastic Fiona Bale, which who will be doing the interpretation. Paseo, Arturo Ruiz Serrano, another short film from the Red Lecture Theatre era. An amazing game there. You don't know what's going on until you discover the real tragic moment. Too late. No spoilers given. An absolute star cast of legends of the Spanish cinema, really.
Yeah. I mean, Arturo Ruiz Serrano is the first film as a director, but we had several films where he has been doing the script. He's one of those figures essential for Spanish short film in the late 90s, 2000s. And he was working with Tony Bestard, particularly with Tony Bestard when we show the trip, no? It was co-written by Tony Bestard and Arturo. And it was quite impressive that he got, Paco Tus and Carlos Santos and José Sacristán, no? For these short films. And we will have, for the last program next week, we have another one by Arturo Ruiz Serrano, and this time, instead of an A-class cast, they have, he chose a C-class cast, because he chooses some of the best secondary and supporting actors in Spanish comedies in TV and in the Spanish comedies of the 90s, and gives them the main role. Again, rethinking, I think it's very timely, because the way the political debate is in Spain these days, very polarized. It shows you a bit the comedy, the tragic comedy of it.
Historical. It's historical. And with that said, Alberto, you want let's get the first guest in. Alex is waiting.
Look forward.
Alex and Fiona, welcome.
Alex!
Hola, hello.
Alex, Fiona,
friends.
we're good. Oh, so nice to see you.
Yeah, so nice to see you too, Alberto.
Okay. She said Alberto, not Rafa, but hey, maybe because
you've been talking for the last couple of days, guys. Don't do the show, Rafa. You've been talking already.
I shouldn't have said that. Sorry.
Now the three of us. Fiona. Nice to see you.
Just to catch up a bit, Fiona obviously has been doing the interpretation for most of our Vermuts this last 3 months, which thank her so much for bearing with us, last minute calls and that. Alex is an amazing animator from Mexico. You live in Ciudad de México or Mexico, D.C.
Sí, en la Ciudad de México.
Ciudad de México. And you were around here, I don't remember now if it was February 2018.
18, I think it was, yeah.
Yes, you were part of the program of Mujeres, although we had shown your films before in another program we did on animation with your film Poliangular, and also with some films from Sofía Carrillo and well, many others.
Sí, no me acuerdo bien cuál fue.
Poliangular.
Sí, no, sí, Poliangular, pero no me acuerdo en qué programa. Creo que en Glasgow fue distinto y en Edimburgo sí fue como solo.
This was a marvelous move from Rafa, because both guests today are in a way. Oh, perdón.
Oh. Yes, I can't quite remember. I know I did some program in Glasgow and one in Edinburgh. I'm not quite sure which film was shown where.
Yeah, sorry, Fiona. As I was saying, both guests today are Rafa Discovery. Talents that Rafa spotted, saw, and said, we need to show this in CinemaAttic. And we normally, try to have the eyes open to see exciting stuff out there. And we sometimes take the opportunity when we know that particularly animators or filmmakers from Latin America are gonna come. Normally in February, there are several festivals, Clermont-Ferrand, Berlin. So a lot of friends from Latin America come to Europe, and we try to tell them, if you come in, okay, you can go to Paris for a visit, but then come to Scotland and we do like a retrospective where we show your films. And that was the case with Alex. We were lucky to have you here. And it's nice to see you again. Let's talk a little bit. How are you? How is Mexico these days? Is 8 a.m. or 9 a.m.? ¿Qué hora es?
Son las 7. Son las 7
de la mañana.
No, 7:30.
Muchísimas gracias por estar con nosotros.
Y que para mí sí es difícil, amigos, porque soy persona de la noche. Pero bueno, muchas gracias por invitarme otra vez. Es un gusto verles sus caritas. Me la pasé increíble cuando fui a CinemaAttic ya hace 2 años o 3 casi. Sí, muchas gracias.
Yeah, it's 7:30 in the morning here, so and I'm a night owl, so this is quite hard for me. I'd like to thank you again for having me. It's great to see your little faces, and I remember fondly the time I spent at CinemaAttic 2 years ago.
Yes, well, to put, we had even more fun than you, having you around and meeting you in Clermont-Ferrand and going to Edinburgh, Glasgow. But just to let people know, the first thing I get to see of yours is when you set up, or you are part of the founders of the Studio Casiopea in Ciudad de México, which I remember when you were here, we talked about this, why they are all female animators, and you said, well, it's nothing to do with feminism or anything like that. It just happened like that. It was we were friends in school and in university, and we got together. Then I watched some of your almost advertising work for in Un Ser Vivo, but this Poliangular is your first short film that I really get to see. Well, I don't know if it's Poliangular inside, but it's your first one. But Poliangular is the one that caught me big time. And then you just have Primos, you have Reset, recent one.
Primos es de Federico Gutiérrez. Más bien, yo ahí hice animación y compuesto, pero sí es la dirección de Federico.
Yeah. Yes. Well, correction. Federico Gutiérrez is the director of Primos, not her, but nevertheless, the animation is Alexandra's. And then you have a lot of commission work. You were telling me about you're now kind of dividing yourself between animation and illustration, because you got illustration that has a more immediate pleasure giver. So you want to tell us a bit about that?
Sí, pues llevo en Casiopea, en el estudio con mis amigas, desde hace ya, vamos a cumplir 7 años en septiembre. Y todo este tiempo yo he hecho animación y como muy en la compu y de repente muy digital. Y me causa mucho conflicto a veces dibujar como mis propios dibujos, ¿no? Es muy raro, pero siempre dibujo el dibujo de alguien más o animo el dibujo de alguien más. Y últimamente sí he pensado mucho en el poder de las imágenes, ¿no? De la imagen sola.
Yeah, I set up, I'm part of Cassiopeia, which I set up with my friends, and this September will have been running for 7 years. I've been working in animation throughout that time, and also I work in digital and in composition. And I'm a bit conflicted sometimes because I work in the digital sphere, so sometimes drawing is can be difficult, and lately I've really just been thinking a lot about the power of the image.
Y pues también esa necesidad de tener un lenguaje propio, un dibujo, ¿no? Porque el dibujo es como un lenguaje, y lograr narrar en una sola imagen, ¿no? Que creo que es algo que en Poliangular me ayudó mucho a ver qué quería, ¿no? O sea, como usar metáforas, usar retórica en lo visual, pero es muy difícil si haces todo al mismo tiempo, si animas, si diriges. Entonces ahora me estoy tomando un tiempo para explorar en la ilustración cómo hacer estas metáforas o esta retórica y después ser mejor en la construcción de animación, ¿no? En la narrativa.
So I look at image and drawing as a sort of language, and with this image, I want to try and tell a story. For example, with one image, try and narrate something. In Polyangular, there's a lot of metaphor and rhetoric in this visual, in a visual manner. And I think it can be very hard if you're the animator and you're also directing the work. So what I want to do now is go back to looking at illustration and really think about how to create this idea of metaphor and rhetoric through a visual in a visual way, and therefore improve my work altogether as a result.
Well, it's fantastic. Do you think it's a good moment now? Maybe we can show a wee clip of your the trailer of Reset.
Yeah.
And then I would like to ask you a couple of questions about that.
Rafa is playing now with the machine and the software, clips.
Alberto likes to.
There you go, post-production.
Alberto.
I'm doing the VFX.
Bueno, este es un proyecto que sí fue un experimento total. O sea, no es como un corto terminado, nunca lo veo como un corto terminado, pero fue construido con found footage e intervenido con animación. Y mi idea era que encontré muchos archivos de distintas fuentes y con eso quería contar la historia de una mujer que muere y que se va olvidando toda su vida.
This project was really very experimental. I wouldn't call it a finished short film as such, and it used a lot of found footage together with animation. I looked at lots of archive material from different sources, and it tells the story of a woman who dies and gradually her life is forgotten.
We very much, Alex, welcome this U-turn or this use of found footage. We're increasingly sensitive and keen with intervention of found footage.
Yes, sorry, I was here trying to control all this. I mean, I hope when the Cuarentena is over, we get the amazing cinematic team behind CinemaAttic. There's at least another 4 or 5 people that will help us with this. Because I mean, I'm running 3-4 pieces of software, and I have Carlos here as well waiting. Anyway, it's cool. It's cool. Thank you very much for sharing this. And I haven't watched the entire film. I haven't watched Reset yet. I don't know if it's finished or can we watch it?
Sí, sí, o sea, te lo puedo mandar. Dura como 9 minutos, algo así. Y sí es como, sí, estaría bien que lo vieran. Como que es para mí una exploración de estructura narrativa como muy experimental, que fue muy interesante. Aprendí mucho con ese proyecto y fue de los que más me dio dolor de cabeza, la verdad.
It's certainly. Sorry.
Yes, sure. I can send you it. It's about 9 minutes long, and it's really an experiment in narrative structure. I learned a lot from doing it, and it also gave me a lot of headaches.
And it's certainly a move away from Polyangular, which was a bit more. We were kind of looking more at the materials, how the elasticity of certain materials, getting really into the last thread of a rope. And I love that one. This one is you rescue some stuff like that kind of polymetry and symmetry and the cube that appears on the head of the character, but the found footage and the history built on found film is completely new. And what made you move away from that? Is how you explain this evolution of your work?
Creo que ha sido mucho mi interés en el cine en general, o sea, cine fuera de animación, pero que tampoco soy una persona como muy de justo agarrar la cámara, ¿no? Y grabar cosas. O sea, si tuviera otro trabajo haría memes, pues agarraría el material de la gente para hacer, pues sí, construir a partir de lo que hace el otro, ¿no? Y bueno, como que en este interés dije, bueno, seguro la gente ya grabó, ya filmó las imágenes que tengo en la cabeza. Entonces, solo es cuestión de buscarlas. Aparte eran cosas como muy, las que yo quería, muy cotidianas, no era nada espectacular. Entonces fui a un archivo en la Cineteca Nacional, acá en la Ciudad de México, que es gigante, y tienen un archivo donde la gente podía donar sus películas, ¿no?
Interesante.
Yeah, I love cinema, so it's and not just cinema that isn't animation, and also I love the idea of like grabbing a camera and just constructing a project out of what people do. So I had some thoughts about this idea, and I thought surely footage already exists about these images. I just need to find it. And I was really looking for just day-to-day activities that were filmed. There's a big archive here in Mexico City where people can donate their own footage. So that's where I found this footage.
Entonces, lo que intenté hacer fue como que tenía una especie de guión o una especie de imágenes claras que quería. O sea, era raro porque yo sabía la historia, pero solo tenía que buscar como el pietaje de video, ¿no? Y eso, como que obviamente al encontrar este pietaje que no era exactamente como el que tenía en la cabeza, tuve como mucho conflicto, pero al mismo tiempo tuve como otras respuestas. Pues es que se abren mucho las posibilidades, ¿no? Y la animación siento que era algo más como para afianzar. O sea, la animación aquí no es realmente el punto importante, según yo, pero era como de los momentos claves de este material que encontré, ¿no? Y bueno, me sirvió mucho justo para ver que me falta investigar más de estructuras narrativas, porque es obvio con Polyangular que no me gustan las estructuras más convencionales. Y eso, pues siento que fue un trabajo de investigación ese corto.
Yeah, I had the idea of this story, so all I needed to do was find footage to fit in with that rough idea. And when I did find it, it wasn't exactly what I had in mind. So this led to some conflict, but it also opened up some new possibilities. And I also used animation, but animation isn't the most important thing in this project. It's kind of a secondary player, and it's just used to underline key parts. So really, this was quite a research project for me, because I was able to explore the narrative constructs and style. I like a non-conventional narrative style. So yes, I would say it was good research for me.
I did, Alex, a quick search, and I think it's not available in Filming Latino, but I'm hoping I can send it to you or somehow. There is an Argentinian director called Agustina Comedí. I don't know if it rings the bell. And she did a film called El silencio es un cuerpo que cae. The silence is a body that falls, no? And it goes in the line of our beloved My Mexican Bretzel and other films that take found footage to create a fiction story, to kind of betray the archive or betray the images in a way. So we're very keen. Hopefully you can see it, because sometimes we think,
It's a short film?
Feature film. I think it's like a 70-minute feature film.
Okay.
Totally recommend it. I'll send it later if I can. But on those lines of of reinterpreting and betraying, or creating a lie out of found footage, or creating a fiction story out of a reality.
Creo que es lo súper interesante del found footage, como que una imagen puede significar miles de cosas, depende quién lo lee, ¿no? Entonces creo que una labor súper, del cineasta también es como poner en la mesa una imagen, una película, y esa película va a tener miles de lecturas, ¿no? O sea, miles de significados, dependiendo de quién lo interprete. Y eso creo que es lo que me gustó mucho del found footage, porque tienes ahí como, digamos, 3 capas, ¿no? Como que es también el director que tiene que hacer esta interpretación de la imagen que ya está hecha, contar una historia y después contársela a alguien más que la va a interpretar de modos distintos. Y eso se me hizo súper mágico, como darle miles de significados a la misma imagen.
Sí.
I think what's very interesting about found footage is that one image can mean literally thousands of different things. So you can take this image or this footage and then, yes, read it in many different ways. And I like the fact that it's got a lot of layers to it as well, because you may have the director looking at it in one way, and then you have to also think about the story, which is another layer, and then how that story is going to be interpreted, and that's another layer. So to me, it's a really magical way of working.
I have one, Rafa, if you allow me. I have a question, Alex, about collectiveness, or being part of a collective in the times of COVID, no, or in the times of lockdown and being close in your house. Can a collective, what is a collective in a sense? Do you need human presence? Do you need to see your pals from Cassiopeia to be a collective? How are you working from home? Is working remotely enough to be a collective?
Pues siento que somos como un organismo vivo, pues, entonces sí seguimos como siempre conectados, por la distancia no nos separa. Y obviamente nos vemos seguido, o sea, tenemos mínimo, una reunión a la semana, pero seguro son 2 o 3, depende. Hablamos todo el tiempo, como, sí, o sea, es como algo que estamos reunidas todo el tiempo ahora en la cuarentena, y yo no he sentido tanto como esa separación, o sea, extraño lo físico, extraño el chisme y así, cotidiano. Pero realmente, tal vez porque llevamos mucho tiempo trabajando juntas, que nos acoplamos súper bien, ¿no? A la distancia. Entonces, pues sí, seguimos. Y de hecho, a mí me comprobó esta cuarentena que sí podríamos como trabajar a distancia, ¿no? Después de esto también.
Yes, we in Cassiopeia, we're really like a living organism. So the quarantine and the distance hasn't really created a problem for us, because we meet up and we chat several times a week. I haven't really felt a sense of separation. I do miss some things, the aspects of physical closeness and maybe gossiping, but we cope well and we know each other really well, so that helps. And in fact, we're even thinking of working or using distance working in the future.
Well, it's fantastic to hear that. And also, well, Alberto was talking about the collectiveness, and I had something to ask about that, but I think you answered it. But I wanted to go back to the found footage thing. Sorry, it's just the distance between Alberto and I as well prevent us a bit from preparing these interviews and give it a lot of fresh
Yes, improvisation. Yes.
And me trying to do okay. Hello. No, it's the way. I'm very curious. When you say that you went to the Mexican Filmotheque to find this footage, was it already digitalized, or you just get to a room where there's a lot of reels of film and start playing with them and see what you find?
¿Cómo, Rafa?
When you said that the found footage for Reset, you found it on the Mexican Filmotheque.
Mm-hmm.
The question is how is indexed? How can you search that database? And the second question is the treatment you give it. Was it like that, or do you play with the way the film, the speed, the frame per second, etc.?
No, o sea, todo el material que usé estaba en distintos formatos. Ya estaba, a ver, en la Cineteca tienen un proyecto, tienen muchísimas películas, ¿no? De todo, pero tienen un proyecto en específico que se llama Archivo Memoria, que es todas las películas que la gente pudo llevar a digitalizar, que tenía en formato VHS, 16 milímetros, 8 milímetros, otros formatos, ¿no? O sea, todos los formatos. Y entonces tienen una base de datos, justo, organizada en distintas formas, ¿no? O sea, por autor, por temática, por año, si es dependiendo del tipo de archivo que es, ¿no? Si es de cine, si es de video. Entonces tú puedes buscar como todas esas cosas. Y de hecho, lo que me faltó decir hace rato fue que bastante material que usé fue de un cineasta que se llama Arturo Ripstein, que... ajá. O sea, pero eran como sus ejercicios de la escuela, ¿no? De hecho, el archivo se llamaba Ejercicios Cinematográficos y fue así para mí como un hallazgo increíble y era libre, ¿no? Entonces fue como, oh, sí, voy a usar eso. Y eso, es un archivo súper, súper grande, pero justo por eso ya lo cerraron, como que la gente seguía llevando su material y ya, pero sí. Y algún archivo, perdón, sí tiene permisos, o sea, algún archivo solo se puede ver y no se puede usar, algún otro se tiene que pedir permiso para usar, etcétera. Sí es como un poquito un trámite para poder usar ese material.
The archive material is all in different formats, so there's a lot of footage there, and it's called archive memory, and a lot of it is from people who've taken film in other formats like VHS of other film, and they took it there to be digitalized. So it's listed in a database, and you can search by author, by the subject matter or the year, and whether it's a cinema clip or a video clip. A lot of the footage I use is actually from the filmmaker Arturo Ripstein, and it was actually a project that he did at school. So for me, it was an amazing find to get that, and it was all free. This archive is huge, but it's now closed because unfortunately lots of people were taking the material. And while it was open, you couldn't just use everything. For some material, you needed to have a permit, or for some, there were restrictions that you could only look at it. You couldn't remove it from there.
Cautious about time, Rafa, but if you give me one more, I'll fire it.
Well, I have one still hanging there.
Cool. No.
How she uses the once she has the footage. Do you play with it or just play it?
Pues no, sí lo manipulo yo. O sea, como yo trabajé a 24 cuadros y sí había material a 30, ¿no? De video y así. La mayoría sí estaba a 24, pero yo lo manipulo. O sea, sí, a veces también lo acelero, ¿no? O sea, como que sí lo super manipulé esta vez. Pero pues creo que era justo en mi exploración, como de narrativa.
And to answer the second question, yes, I did manipulate the footage quite a lot because I had to change the number of images that were in the footage. I had to sometimes speed it up. So yes, I used it as a way of exploring. I explored it fully and manipulated it, and it was all part of this learning experience for me.
That's great.
Back to, maybe it's a question related to polyangular, but in more general to animation, Alex, because it feels, we often say that animation feels like the most inclusive of the art forms, the more permeable, the one that, kind of gathers and welcomes more, music, painting, the perspective in painting, plastic arts, textiles. In your case, even you go into, geometry, maths, cubism. I don't know if that will be a false statement, Alex, but do you feel like animation feels like that, like a welcoming art form where all these art forms, kind of mingle and are mixed in a more democratic, I don't know, way?
Sí, exacto, muy bien. Me gusta eso. Creo que sí, o sea, justo yo empecé animación porque me gustaba todo y no podía decidir, ¿no? Me gusta, o sea, incluye cosas de cine, de dibujo, o sea, de artes en general, incluso de danza, ¿no? El movimiento tiene que ver con eso, o sea, con todas las artes para empezar. Y después también la animación, que creo que la animación que más me gusta es la que no tiene diálogo, porque se puede comunicar demasiado sin usar un lenguaje en específico de una región, ¿no? Y eso ya es como inclusivo totalmente. Incluso también en el diseño de personajes, ¿no? Que ahí creo que es como justo donde tenemos ahora animadores que como estar muy conscientes de qué tipo de personajes diseñamos, ¿no? Para quién, porque hasta parece que a veces los cortos también son medio publicitarios o no sé. Pues bien, o sea, de qué color es la piel de tu personaje, ¿no? Qué tanto mide, o sea, cómo nos identificamos, ¿no? O como un personaje que sí puede como como encajar en cualquier lugar, ¿no? Y sí, siento que sí es como un arte súper incluyente, o sea, incluyente de todas disciplinas y de pues, no sé, de todo lo demás también.
Yes, exactly. I got into animation because I actually liked so many forms of art. I liked cinema, drawing, dance. I liked all arts, and through animation, I can do everything. I can explore everything. In terms of inclusivity, I also like animation that has no dialogue, because I find that this enables communication to be really inclusive, and it's not limited to one particular region. I also think now that we're, as animators, becoming very conscious of how we design characters, what type of characters, and what skin color, how these characters identify, and again, so that they can fit in anywhere. So I would say that animation is extremely inclusive, and it allows, it welcomes all disciplines.
Viva!
Viva! It was thanks to animation that we found you, and it was thank you to a web page of the Mexican government where your films were shown. And it's great that we have managed to keep the contact, the relationship through the years now. And still, well, I told you the other day, we have to go to Ciudad de Mexico and challenge the whole Mexican cinema to a short film duel. It's going to happen. They're going to do it. And we're going to win.
Rafa is so competitive. He always wants a challenge. He wants blood. He wants a winner.
No, blood. Let's leave the blood for the others. It wouldn't be fair. Alex can chop me in so many little pieces with her polyangular thingies. I wouldn't risk it.
You're crazy.
Alex, it's such a joy to see you and speak with you and to keep in touch with you. Thank you very much for waking up so early, actually on a Sunday. The time was Alberto's idea. Like, everything was so quite well.
I said, que se joda, Alex. I said, que se joda.
Muy mal.
No. We actually said, let's do sobremesa this Sunday. So, they have more like, 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. A more normal time to do the Zoom. But okay. You have more time.
Yeah, I had to work, so you woke me early. It's okay.
The next guest, I don't know his opinion about this early Sunday. Maybe not he's so generous as you. But anyway, it's great to see you, Alex, and I'm looking forward to talking to you very soon again, okay?
Yeah, it's great to see you too.
Cheers.
So nice to see you, Alex.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay. And with that said, we have another friend, another guest that came, just last year, at the beginning of last year, to Scotland. We showed his films in Edinburgh, in Glasgow, in Manipulate. You remember he had a lot of his perspective on his work. And also we have him giving an amazing chat in the College of Art in Edinburgh. I want to let him in. Carlos, I hope you're ready and wearing some clothes.
Hello.
Carlos!
See you again. And you, Alex, a very nice person and animator also.
Yes, she's fantastic.
Hey, Fiona.
Amazing friend.
Hello. Hola.
Well, as I told you, Fiona will be doing the interpretation. She can do 5 minutes live, but let's not test that to the limit and then speak on 1 minute.
I don't...
So, Alberto,
tengo tantas cosas para decir, ¿eh?
Yes, and not all can be said live on a broadcast. So going through, yes, sorry.
No, dale. I was just going to say, it's so nice to see you, Carlos. We just feel like nobody's watching and we don't want to talk about serious things. We just want to chill out and see how you are. How are you? But let's fake it. Let's look professional and talk about serious stuff, maybe, or not so serious.
Not serious. Well, a good starting point would be El Pasajero de la Noche, Passenger of Night, the short film we included in this week's program. And it's quite it's not your first one, but it's representative for that work you used to do in those days, La Selva Oscura, and then the run to Los Extraños Presagios de León Prozac. What do you remember of those days, of those films? Tell us about it, how were they made.
Fue una época muy emocionante porque descubrir la dimensión del tiempo. Yo venía haciendo grabado y dibujo, había estudiado Derecho, pensando que iba a ser escritor. Me pasa un poco lo que a Alex y a los otros directores, que el cine es promiscuo, en el sentido, sé que no he encontrado una mejor palabra, sé que es horrible, en el sentido de que toma de las otras artes sin ningún problema, todas. De la danza, de la música, del teatro, de la literatura, de la pintura. Yo venía pintando, entonces mis preguntas eran alrededor de cómo mover ese arte. Lo de cine experimental no existía, entre otras porque es un absurdo. El arte es experimental, el cine experimental, si es cine es experimental. Está en su naturaleza la búsqueda, la creación es búsqueda. Entonces más bien íbamos a hablar del cine repetitivo o convencional y del cine, es decir, del que investiga. Pero en esa época, pues, nos lo planteamos en términos de cómo darle la dimensión del tiempo a las artes plásticas, cómo darle la dimensión del tiempo conservando de la plástica sus elementos principales, en técnicas y en texturas, es decir, intentando hacer una obra de arte en cada fotograma, generando una gran tensión, porque el arte es espacial y el cine es temporal. Entonces, algo que está hecho para verse en el ad infinitum en una pared, lo pasas en una fracción de segundo, ¿no? Entonces se genera una paradoja tremenda. Hay una parte del arte que se resiste a ser atrapada en la temporalidad. Entonces sobre esas tensiones empecé a trabajar y claro, como era cine y no había nada a ver películas, era muy difícil. Pues tenías que ir a una proyección de cine, no había como, ni cómo copiarla siquiera. Yo tenía que ir a Medellín, a Cali, donde estuvieran pasando la película. Y las referencias que teníamos era lo que había en las embajadas. La francesa tenía algo, la canadiense tenía todo, McLaren, la canadiense era una maravilla. O sea, como promocionaron a McLaren y sus animadores, para nosotros fue maravilloso. Y
Guiño
una
escocés.
cuando estás inspirado, no sé, te funcionan las cosas. Había una asociación colombo-checa, en una época en que la relación con los partidos comunistas era, pues, no había comunicación. Y estos tenían las películas de Janes Vermayer y de Giri Trinca y de otros grandes animadores. Esa fue nuestra experiencia. Revelábamos en 16 milímetros nuestras pruebas.
Carlos,
de animación.
discúlpame que te pare, pero veo a Fiona
Sí,
struggling.
perdóname, Fiona, no, yo no solamente me voy por la rama, sino que me voy a otro árbol y me bajo, ¿me entiendes?
Okay.
Perdóname, Carlos.
Okay. Yes, initially I was a painter and I studied law and I thought I was going to be a writer. And as your previous guest said, cinema is what I term as a sort of promiscuous art, and I can't think of a better way to say it. It really takes things from all the other arts. So I started off initially interested in painting, and I was really interested in how to move from painting into cinema and to make it a more experimental, to experiment with how to move into cinema and create things over time. The only cinema that was available to me back then was really quite conventional, and I wanted to explore that more. I wanted to look at how we take all the plastic arts and other arts and move them in a time dimension. With art, you're just looking at one thing or one scene, and it's there for one moment. But for example, on a wall. But in a film, there's a paradox, because how do you kind of take that one image and move it through time? And at that time, I was looking for inspiration, and there was really very little for me. There wasn't even anything that I could copy. I had to travel to other cities in Colombia, like Medellin and Cali. And one good resource I found was the embassies from other countries, like the French and Canadian embassy. And the Canadian embassy in particular had was really very good at supporting art. There was also a very good association, the Colombian Czech association, and I was able to go there for inspiration and to obtain film to copy.
Amazing.
Pues en una época muy distinta, tenía muy bonito que era muy físico, el ejercicio muy cercano a lo plástico, tocabas el fotograma, ¿no? Era una realidad que podías alterar, incluso directamente, ¿no? Copiar Y ahí empezó la investigación, El pasajero de la noche. Tinta china, grupos de locos, teníamos dinero para alquilar un espacio muy grande en el centro de Bogotá, un centro, digamos, denso, más bien profundo. Y la gente podía vivir ahí si quería y comer. Y teníamos materiales y ya. Y entonces los amigos llegaron ahí a dibujar, a buscar con nosotros las técnicas, ¿no? Es interesante porque si ves el proceso, cuando ves la nueva tecnología, en realidad es una expresión de algo que ya habías hecho de otra manera. Es decir, que nosotros dibujábamos el fotograma en tinta china y lo teníamos que recortar con una cuchillita y pegarlo en un acetato que vendría a ser el layer, y atrás vendría la escenografía, ¿cierto? Hoy en día haces más o menos ese mismo proceso, pero de manera digital, ¿no? Entonces, bonito sentir como esas pequeñas diferencias que permite el uso de lo análogo y lo digital, porque en realidad lo que ves es que hay una paleta cinematográfica, no hay un enfrentamiento, digamos, como lo plantea hoy en día el mercado, entre lo análogo y lo digital, como si fueran dos maneras de ver el mundo, sino que en realidad tenemos una gran cantidad de posibilidades de desarrollo y una ampliación de la investigación. Eso me parece súper bonito.
Okay. So what, these were really different times back then. And for example, with plastic, the plastic medium, you can touch things and alter them and copy them. And that's really how we started off on the Passenger of the Night project. So we hired a big workspace in Bogota, and then people could come and go, and friends would come into this space and they would draw and use other techniques. And it really became a sort of expression of techniques we'd done in other mediums. So, for example, drawing and using ink, doing all these layers. What's interesting now is that would all be done digitally. So now sometimes we think of this sort of this idea of things being digital or analog, but in reality, it doesn't have to be one or the other. You know, you can kind of combine the two in different processes.
Yes, it's great that you talk about digital, analog, how things were done then. I guess this kind of period of yours, the maximum expression will be your first feature, which was the incredible presages of León Prozac, in English. Los increíbles presagios de León Prozac.
Misteriosos.
Los misteriosos. Mysterious presages. Goodness gracious. Thank you, Alberto. Because it's the last one that still keeps that technique, and you can see a huge collective of people working there. Despite that, it takes you, correct me if I'm wrong, but 10 years to get it finished. You see mostly, I think, only analog techniques. Is that right?
No eran todas análogas, Rafa, pero sí había una carga analógica, llamémosla analógica, grande, porque el centro de la película son pintores que invité a trabajar en animación. Y inicialmente pretendí que trabajaran en animación, como enseñarles un poquito, trabajar, pero no, ya artistas muy consagrados, con un lenguaje pictórico muy fuerte, no les interesaba tanto la fabricación de la serie, por la naturaleza misma de la pintura. La pintura es centrífuga, toda la información está en una sola imagen, tú construyes todo para leerlo desde y para esa imagen, es un Aleph. Mientras que el cine es centrípeto, es una sucesión, lo que hablábamos en el tiempo. Entonces lo que hice fue tratar de seguir lo que ellos hacían, de sus propias técnicas, extraer el tiempo, de sus propios procesos pictóricos, de la manera como pintaban. Entonces sí hay una carga de pintura muy grande. Pero justo como pasaron tantos años, Rafa, la tecnología fue avanzando. Entonces yo iba adaptándome un poco. Al final, terminar la película por costos para mí era imposible. Yo pensé que iba a terminar siendo una serie de cortos, algún tipo de ensamblaje más abierto en la proyección, pero yo quería una película, la verdad me gusta. Soy más tirano en eso, no me gusta que la gente decida y entre y vea por pedacitos, no, a mí me gusta editar y armarla y tirarla con lenguaje cinematográfico. Entonces apareció lo digital y aparecieron mis alumnos de digital, Juan Camilo González, grandes maestros hoy en día, Camilo Cogua, etcétera. Hoy en día es un grupo grande, me daría pena mencionar más porque son muchos y entonces se queda alguien por fuera. Y ellos me dijeron, hombre, Carlos, vas a lo digital. Yo tenía el material en cine, en 16, pensado probablemente para hacer blow up a 35, por lo que era largometraje. Es muy difícil hoy en día pasar en 16. En esa época ya se estaba restringiendo el 16 mucho en los festivales. Entonces, pero yo revelaba con amigos publicistas. Y mis amigos publicistas siempre, los chicos de Rayuela, José Luis y ellos, sacaban la forma digital para televisión siempre. Entonces yo tenía todo en digital. No me había dado cuenta, fue un milagro. Entonces gracias a Juan Camilo ellos me dijeron, no, pues acábala en digital. Entonces viré también mis intereses por las formas digitales y ellos mismos invitados, porque yo invité a mis mejor dicho, yo no tengo alumnos, sino que formamos es como familias, con intereses comunes alrededor del pretexto educativo casi siempre. Y así construimos las películas. Entonces, de esa manera, ellos me ayudaron a terminar.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So, in this film, it's not all analog, but there is a lot of it. What happened was I invited some painters onto this project to animate, but as artists, they had a really strong style and they didn't really want to move away from that, because painting is all about that one image, whereas cinema, it's all about the succession of images through time. So I used painting quite a lot, the techniques of painting quite a lot in that film, but then technology advanced. So as the film progressed, I was starting to get worried that this wouldn't end up being a feature film, that it would just become a series of short films, and I didn't want that. I wanted it to be a complete film. But I was very lucky to work with some really, excellent people who worked with digital technology, and they said to me, Carlos, you need to get this into digital format, because also some of the other techniques were being restricted in terms of the festivals I could show it at. So through discussing with my friends who worked a lot in the digital medium, I was able to finish the film in using digital technology, and my interest in that technology grew as a result. I work in quite a collaborative way. I work with a lot of people who are almost like a family, and we're always learning together, and this helped me to finish that film.
Well, that's great. I like to take one single thing on the collaborative way Carlos likes to work. In reality, we got to speak finally with you via Isabel Erguera. I had already found a couple of your shorts, and I was emailing Moebius, which you are part of that collective as well, and I wasn't getting anywhere. But it was Isabel saying, no, I work in I think, Relatos de Reconciliación.
Yeah.
And then obviously we had the pleasure, the enormous pleasure of meeting you in person there here and then in Colombia, Santiago de Cali. And you introduced me to Coco and to so many people. I don't want to say names because I'm not good at saying them all. But I like to maybe to play one clip you sent me. It's about 2 minutes long, which shows acumulaciones and shows a bit different techniques used in your films. And then I know Alberto is being very good to me today, not interrupting me. So I can go, but I don't know how you prefer to do it. Shall we watch the clip first, and then you can tell us a bit about this way of working with so many people, or you want to you can speak above on top of the clip, so you can tell us a bit what's going on.
En el clip que vamos a pasar, Rafa, es muy interesante.
Cada uno en su ventana.
Sí, es muy interesante porque estamos haciendo animación utilizando una técnica que es el grabado en metal, en cobre.
Yeah.
Entonces, es una técnica muy rigurosa, muy exigente, y Coco tiene un taller de artes gráficas y pasó lo mismo con Bocas, ¿no? Tú empiezas a hacer pruebas con Coco, haciendo los grabados, viendo a ver cómo desplazar el dibujo en el metal y en el papel, las impresiones, la entintada, es decir, buscarle justamente la temporalidad al grabado. Y el grabado, pues, es un proceso también lento, es decir, que incluye tiempo dentro del mismo proceso. Entonces, es una búsqueda interesante. Ahí empiezan a llegar amigos, artistas, algunos ya consagrados en animación, unos en grabado, otros, y jóvenes universitarios de distintas universidades. Y entonces generamos una temática que es alrededor pensando muy como en el desnudo, pues como para hacerlo visible, el desnudo bajando las escaleras de Duchamp, es decir, hacer ciclos sobre acciones, trabajar sobre 11 láminas. Te voy a mostrar algo.
Fiona, you go ahead.
Yes. So, just a question: grabar is in record, or grabar is in engrave?
Engrave.
Oh, it's engrave. Right. Okay. I wasn't.
This
yes,
kind
so
of
was interesting. This was a project involving engraving onto copper, and it's a very slow process and involved some trial and error. So I gathered again some friends who were worked in different films, different mediums, and some who were worked in engraving, and people from different universities. And the theme of this was about a nude coming down the stairs.
Entonces, sobre esa pregunta sobre la capacidad simbólica de la pequeña gestualidad humana, es decir, de lo que podríamos llamar microdramas, ciclos de 11 láminas que se van repitiendo, se empiezan a generar estas historias que dialogan entre sí en la edición, ¿no? Es decir, que quien trabaja en el laberinto puede asociarse con el que trabaja la caída o la huida o la rutina, etcétera, ¿no? Pero al final lo que pasa y lo que va a pasar naturalmente es que cada serie va a ser independiente. Es decir, que como el tema de Coco son ventanas, al final lo que nos damos cuenta es que, como ahorita, cada uno está en su ventana. Ahora, la idea no era, no estábamos pensando en el virus ni en nada de eso, sino que justamente es una sociedad que vive aislada, no aislada en el sentido físico, ahora sí, pero antes no necesariamente, sino en un sentido más psicológico, en un sentido más profundo. Hay una dificultad en las comunicaciones entre los seres, los lenguajes tienden a volverse herméticos, la cultura tiende a fracturarse, las cosas se están separando un poco. Hay una gran fractura en la época, que es lo que quiero mostrar yo ahí, pero pues preciso coincidió con la separación física también. Entonces, que es la que nos permitía todavía intentar a través de la vida la comunicación más profunda, la comunicación del ser que incluye no solo el pensamiento, sino el silencio. El silencio no existe en el Internet, no se puede. Pues la gente se aburre y se va, ¿me entiendes? Nos quedamos callados 3 minutos, se va todo el mundo.
Es cierto.
En eso estamos trabajando, entonces lo que van a ver es una maqueta, pues lo que te mandé es una maquetica. El otro proyecto es el de Astrolabio, pero después hablamos de eso.
Yeah, this was around a theme of what I call microdramas, and they were sort of a set of 11 frames all repeating, and they all fit into each other. They link up in a sort of labyrinth and look at different topics like routine. So a lot of these series look, for example, the ones that my colleague Coco does looks at a series about windows and how we are each in our own window. And we weren't at the time of making that, we weren't actually thinking about the virus, but we're thinking more about isolation in terms of a deep isolation, not a physical isolation, really how communication, the problems of communication in our society, how we've become fractured and shut off from one another. So this just happened to coincide with the physical separation that we're now experiencing. And communication is a very complex matter. For example, communication includes silence, and yet there is no silence on the internet. So yeah, that's what I want to say.
If you want, I'm going to play the clip, but we can talk on top of it. Well, let's hope so. And this is Coco en acumulaciones, ¿isn't it?
Sí, acumulaciones, impresión de grabado. Ahí está Coco y Liz. Esta es la prensa. Cada fotograma se imprime. Es lo que dicen en Colombia, un camello, un trabajo del berraco. Pero mira las posibilidades de la lámina tan interesantes. Y la lámina recoge luz, ¿no? Entonces, al final, pues veremos cómo cada uno queda en su ventana y vemos un planeta que se aleja, ¿no? Probablemente habrá muchos planetas.
Each of the pieces are going to be made into metal.
Excuse me.
Each of these quick clips that we see are going to be made into metal.
In metal, yes. Metal and impression, both. Metal y papel.
Tell us a bit about acumulaciones, and I let Alberto go.
Pasamos muy rico, están muy invitados a Colombia, en Cali se pasa muy sabroso, pero nos vamos a enloquecer, ¿sabes? Ahora que decías que tan difícil el domingo, yo digo, tras de que todos los días amanece a la misma hora y se oculta el sol a la misma hora, todo el año, todo el tiempo, toda la vida. Es una isocronía. Tus referencias temporales son poquitas porque no tienes veranos fuertes, inviernos fuertes, así. Dependes un poquito de las catástrofes o ciertos cambios del clima y de lo que haces día a día, pero como ahora no te mueves, el control del tiempo con nuestros rituales de levantarnos, desayunar, es decir, toda la manera como marcamos el día y lo vamos señalando, se empieza a borrar. Entonces, de pronto hasta nos volvemos buenos, ¿quién quita?
No.
Yes, well, here in Colombia, yes, we like to have a good time, but at the moment, I think we're going a little bit crazy because the way we define our time is really, you know, the sun comes up at the same time, the sun sets, the seasons repeat, you know, everything plays out in the same way unless there's a catastrophe of some sort. But now the rituals that we have are starting to become a bit erased in terms of our daily routine and how we mark the passage of time. So it's all become a little bit blurry.
¿Están seguros que es domingo? ¿Están seguros?
No, ya
¿No
no.
les ha pasado?
Are you sure it's Sunday?
Carlos, in this aspect or in this sense, I was very curious to hear your opinion, about this new reality or new routine that you were talking about. For someone that is so sensitive to time, it feels sometimes, so depending of the week, sometimes it feels like you have a chewing gum, no, or like a dough, como una masa que puedes estirar. Sometimes time during this quarantine have felt a little bit like that. I don't know how it feels for an animator like you, if time feels slower, faster, this perception of time since this new reality in our small windows.
Fine, sorry.
Y es una pregunta con muchos aspectos. ¿Esperamos a que vuelva Rafa?
Seguro. Ay, sí, no me deja hablarte, Carlos. Me tiene aquí en un rincón.
Te tiene en un rincón, entonces aprovecho. Lo que te contaba al comienzo, me parece que el aislamiento evidencia otros tipos de aislamiento, es decir, que pone de presente los asuntos de la comunicación como uno de los temas que me parecen principales. En la parte educativa es muy difícil porque ahí la animación y el arte en general en digital es como dar una clase de natación por teléfono. O sea, pues se puede, pero ahí se ahoga el tipo, ¿me entiendes? Y pienso que la posibilidad de estar solo y reflexionar es maravillosa, la posibilidad de estar con uno mismo, porque uno se queja todo el tiempo que no tiene tiempo y bueno, ahí tienen tiempo. ¿Qué van a hacer con él? Es la pregunta. La pregunta, ya no tienes esa excusa de que no tengo tiempo porque no es verdad. De las clases me gusta mucho que puedo fumar en el aula de clase. Y nadie me dice nada. Pero la parte del manejo del tiempo, como se siente en el cine y como piensan los físicos contemporáneos y Deleuze mismo en filosofía, es una dimensión adicional. No funciona dependiendo del espacio y la velocidad, como se consideraba en la forma aristotélica, que hacía muy difícil entender el tiempo psicológico. Entonces, por ejemplo, piensa tú, tengo una tesis de grado ahorita, los guambianos piensan que el pasado está adelante porque lo vemos, y el pasado adelante porque lo vemos, y el futuro atrás porque no lo vemos. En cierto sentido, nos plantean como personas caminando de para atrás, referenciándose con lo que les pasó, pero no con lo que está por venir. Entonces, lo que quiero decir es que cada cual va a encontrar su propia temporalidad, te lo digo en este sentido. Cuando trabajé con pintores, cada uno tenía una manera de acercarse al lienzo muy particular. Los expresionistas muy rápido y muy atacados, los neoclásicos como Mansur, que toman tiempo, van y vuelven. Y esa forma de enfrentar su cuadro, de parar, borrar, alejarse, tomar aire, etc., generaba una temporalidad en el cuadro. Yo supongo que puede ser una buena pregunta para cada ser humano, porque es que el tiempo es la vida, el tiempo es el soporte de la vida, igual que el cine. Se parecen, por eso Deleuze dice que el pensamiento se parece mucho al cine, porque le viene. Excúsame, Fiona, yo estoy...
In terms of the current isolation, the main thing that it's making me think about is communication. In the field of education, it's actually very difficult because I work in animation and art, and it's to teach this. It's like teaching a swimming class over the phone. However, one thing with isolation is that we've got time to be alone and to reflect, and I think that's a good thing. Now we have time, and people have to decide how to use that time. People don't have the excuse to say now, oh, I don't have the time to do things. And another good thing about isolation is I get to smoke in my classroom, and no one can tell me off for that. In terms of time, time is an additional dimension. We look at space and time and speed, but time is really a psychological dimension. I was interested in one thesis that looked at the past as being ahead of us, in front of us, because we can see it, whereas the future is behind us. And that really we're kind of walking through life going backwards. So really there are lots of different ways to look at time, and everybody has to find their own meaning of time. Different styles of painters, such as the neoclassical and others, they would have their own way of approaching time and the implication, and have their own implications of that. And to me, time is life, and much like cinema is life. That's how I think about it.
Mm-hmm. Bravo, Fiona. We should start a new masters in interpreting and translation that is specialized in translating Carlos Santa, because it has some connotations that you need to know philosophy, notions of physics.
Leave alone the 3 different accents here: Spanish, Mexican, Colombian. I mean, this is a master class. This is your PhD.
No, pero Carlos, and I don't know if Rafa agrees with me. We've been watching many films. No, he doesn't agree. This is new. Rafa, we've been watching a lot of films this quarantine, but we were, I think maybe one of our favorites, I'm talking for both, but we saw an Italian film called Martin Eden that is also, it plays with found footage and plasticity, but it's the story, I mean, it's based in the classic novel by Jack London of Martin Eden, and it's the story of a working class boy who falls in love for a aristocrat lady, and in order to get her heart, to conquer her, he starts this journey through enlightenment, to get to culture, to start to read books and be better mannered. And the whole film and book is about this. It's about this journey from being a poor working class boy working in the ships to be a very famous author and artist. Yet something is missing in the journey, that is compassion. It reminded me a little bit, Carlos, of Mr. Isaac Ing and this journey from academia, religions. I don't know if it's a personal opinion, but or if you are aware of the book, but I was worried about this perception of, the more culture we can have sometimes, the more, if it doesn't go hand in hand with compassion, it can be a very dangerous journey, ¿no?
Me gusta tu opinión.
Sí.
Es verdad, es una visión del mundo con cierta distancia. Y lo único que dice el personaje en toda la película es no. Lo dice 2 veces, ¿no? Es el único parlamento. Yo trato de acordarme cómo estaba yo en esa época, ¿sabes? Con el tiempo también cambia la película, tu percepción que tienes de la misma. Nunca había visto esa parte que me cuentas y me parece destacable. Él va como si cargara bulto de papas, no un muerto, ¿no? Creo que tienes razón, la cultura y la frialdad se la van de la mano bastante bien. Y en ese momento, pero creo que las cosas no han cambiado mucho. Es un personaje sin un lugar en el mundo, ¿no? Él es casi que un pretexto para mostrar lo que hay atrás. Y en eso también es una película muy pictórica, siempre son grandes escenografías quietas que recorres en travelings en la medida en que el personaje simplemente camina pareciendo buscar un lugar, pareciendo buscar un lugar y no encontrándolo. Lo han asociado con la metáfora nietzscheana de Nietzsche, del hombre, del superhombre, digamos, o el hombre mejor que lleva su propio cadáver. Pero se ha hablado también del alter ego, algo que cargas y de lo cual no te puedes desprender. O puede ser más general. Él es el símbolo de una época que nació un poco muerta, que nació Rodrigo de No Futuro, de Víctor Gaviria, unas generaciones latinoamericanas que no vemos futuro. El caso mío
Sí,
es
no.
la mayoría de la gente muere en el intento, ¿no?
No, y es que era súper interesante esto, Carlos, porque me resonaba en esta película en concreto, pero como en otras. Y hemos estado hablando hoy. Sorry, Fiona. Go ahead.
Yes, I like your opinion, and it's true that this film has a vision of the world that has an element of kind of distance in it. For example, the only speech in the film is the word no. And I'm just trying to reflect on how I was back then, because of course, over time, our perception changes as well. And I'm not sure if I've seen the part of the film you refer to, but it sounds like someone who's just has a lot on their shoulders. And I think culture definitely can have a certain frigidity or a coldness to it. They go hand in hand. And the film, or the film you described, seems to indicate a story of a person who has no place, and they're kind of moving and traveling and looking for something and yet not finding it. I think this we can maybe compare this a bit to Nietzsche and his idea of the alter ego, or maybe it's just a general symbol of having no future. I believe that everyone in that film dies. Is that right?
No.
No, but yeah. Sorry, Fiona. I'm not sure if the translation is over. It's finished.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. No, but to continue on that, Carlos, it's really interesting, and we've been talking today already about a small film, Basque film of Ernest Hemingway wanting to be someone else. This film that I was talking about is the same. Or it touches on this perception of, if you want to go to Freud, of the superego of, who am I, who I want to be, and how that journey, what happens in that journey, how you stop being yourself to be who you want to be, a new persona. Sí, muy interesante.
Y la pregunta acerca de la inutilidad de las acciones humanas sobre su sentido.
Sorry, no.
Yeah, it's a question of the futility of man's actions.
It's a film that has so many reads. In particular, you've seen some previous ones of Pietro Marcello, but I read as well others on what we used to have and what we have missed. And I think there's a few films coming out recently and now talking on that, of the disappearance of the unions and the automation of many tasks. So the workforce is not what used to be. It's not so needed anymore. I mean, even during the pandemic, all of a sudden, we don't even need an office anymore. We can work from our cubicles and still produce enough for the profit of the company. So when your films obviously bring a taste of those things, of those times, of the past times, I don't know if by time we have time to get into Astrolabio and show this clip. Or Alberto, I think you have another question yet, or
I'll squeeze one more and we will move into Astrolabio because it's related to, if that's okay, it's related to what we were talking to, wanting to be someone else, to work in new times and things that are disappearing, and it's something that is present in your films as much as in Fellini and other great authors. That is the notion of the circus, the clown. We don't see many people wanting to be a clown these days, and sometimes the word clown is used in a negative way, and we kind of reclaim the idea of circus that is so present in your work as well, and any film that is about circus, you know, with images or in a more metaphorical way. Si nos pudieses hablar, Carlos, un poco sí, de esta presencia del circo y los payasos.
Vale. Me perdí porque te sentía hablando de Astrolabio. Sí, mira que yo quería usar más la estructura de trabajar más el esquema de la Divina Comedia, o sea, una visión trágica, y decidí sobre esos mismos elementos trabajar el elemento circense. Me parecía interesante porque eran los últimos nómadas. En un mundo donde ya todo el mundo, casi que ahora sí que estamos clavados en el piso, mejor dicho, un nómada se suicidaría. Y la idea de que el circo recoge los elementos más dispersos y extraños, aquellos que no encuentran lugar en el mundo. La mujer barbada, el hombre elefante, los raros. Pero en Colombia yo creo que en el mundo se usa mucho la metáfora del circo para hablar de situaciones peligrosas, ¿no? Estar en la cuerda floja, o que te va a comer el tigre, o que cuidado con la culebra, no sé. Entonces, metafóricamente era maravilloso y me parecía que podía invitar a otros artistas, eso también era importante, que funcionaran como el circo, números independientes. Si tienes elefantes, pues salen los elefantes un ratico y después los canguros, pero si se enfermó el payaso, pues entonces sale la mujer maga y así, ¿no? O sea, es un poco lo que hay ahí.
Yes, to me, I wanted to structure it using the theme of the divine comedy, and I was interested in looking at these the idea of these last nomads, and now that we're all stuck in one place, you know, when we don't have that nomadic lifestyle. I like the idea of a circus because it's a collection of people who really don't fit, you know, the sort of bearded woman and the elephant man. Also, what's interesting is in Colombia, we often use terminology or the imagery of the circus to talk about dangerous situations. And so what I wanted to do was to collaborate with different artists and almost use it like a circus. So each person would be bringing their own resources or talents together, and then we would just use what we had. So, you know, if one person had one thing and one wasn't available, we would just make do. So that's really how we worked on that.
Si lo miras con cuidado, es una buena metáfora para el tema central, que es el papel del artista en el mundo contemporáneo. Pan y circo. Nosotros los artistas somos la parte del circo.
Very interesting. I mean, we were saying about your... sorry.
Yes. Perdón, Carlos, ¿puedes repetir que no oí muy bien lo último que dijiste?
Es una muy buena metáfora la del circo para hablar del arte contemporáneo y sus esfuerzos por sobrevivir en un mundo donde te ofrecen eso, pan y diversión, alimentación y diversión. Nosotros quedamos en esa parte de la diversión, somos los payasos.
En la cuerda floja.
Yeah, I think the circus is a really useful metaphor for the artist in the contemporary world, because there's this idea of this circus and entertainment, and then survival and, you know, living or bread. So yeah, in that sort of scenario, the artists, we're the circus, we're the entertainment.
Well, talking about these things, we started mentioning your first work, got all the way to the mysterious presages of Leon Prozac. We have gone a bit quick over Relatos de Reconciliación. I don't remember the name in English. But
Reconciliation histories? Reconciliation.
Reconciliation stories.
Stories. And then basically, there's been a film that called Astrolabio, which you have been mentioning many times along the last maybe 3 years. And I know there's been some people coming in and then not going the right direction, and you have started again. And it takes you away a bit graphically. It was taking you away from everything we have seen from you before. But now the clip you sent us, I can see the hand drawing fighting back, fighting the big corporations of the digital era back, and we.
Pues la has visto muy bien, Rafael, la has visto muy bien. Yo quiero volver, no sé si sea mi último largometraje, es probable, y quería volver al Pasajero de la Noche en técnica, dibujo, tinta china, papel, pero aprovechando pues todo el trayecto vital. Y los primeros 3 minutos los hice en 3D, animación en 3D. Y siempre buscando el puente con el trabajo manual en tinta china. Y está en proceso, digamos. Si tú ves el clip, sin duda ves todavía que es una maqueta y que está buscando todavía su puente entre las formas análogas y las más digitales, conservando, porque es que, vuelvo y te digo, estamos tratando de hacer que cada fotograma sea una obra de arte y no siempre en los procesos digitales funciona de esa manera. Entonces pierde alma, pierde tensión. Bueno, estamos en esas. En Relatos de Reconciliación hubo muy buenos ensayos, pero la estructura permitía que fueran muy puntuales los elementos. En este caso ya es un desenvolvimiento dramático más complejo, más difícil.
Yes, well spotted, Rafa. This might end up being my last feature film, and I was really keen to go back to or to draw using ink and paper. The first 3 minutes, however, are all in 3D animation. So I'm always looking for that link between the traditional manual drawing and new technology. So it's in a rough draft at the moment, and I'm still searching for that, you know, how to make it link the manual and the digital. What I really wanted was for each frame of this film to be its own work of art. I think sometimes with digital technology, the work can lose a little bit of its soul. And really, the structure of this film is really quite complex.
Shall we watch it?
Yes.
It's happening. It's coming.
Es una maqueta, ¿no? Es un estado de 6 minutos, escogimos 3. Ahí verán.
I see Abre Suzuga as well there, the director of Cine Toro, which were guests. But what an amazing film. I mean, it feels that, Carlos, some of the scenes that were done in 3D, you didn't quite agree with it and went deconstructing them. Ink, Chinese ink and paper, and I dream with that. I mean, you fighting the Macintosh with your pen, no? With your fountain pen.
Yes, yes.
It has, Carlos, it reminds me some of these 3D parts, some of the last season of David Lynch of Twin Peaks, with a very contrasted black and white futuristic elements very much, and then straight into the heart of your work, of your images, the study of your images. Very, very exciting.
Thank you. It's a proof. It's the part when the characters, los personajes, perdón, están en Colombia, ¿no? Que caen sin culpa, ¿no? Nadie en esos futuros remotos quisiera estar en estas tierras, ¿no? Entonces, he aprovechado para marcar también eso, ¿no? Como los guetos que componen las ciudades, ¿no?
Ojalá, I wish, oh, sorry,
no, sorry, Carlos, no oí la última frase que has dicho.
Que esta parte tiene que ver con la descripción de Bogotá, lo llamo yo porque es Bogotá y Cali, ya estoy en Cali, entonces ya hay elementos de ambas ciudades, y con los jóvenes que trabajan en el semillero de animación de el departamento de la Universidad de Bellas Artes en Cali. Armamos un equipo de producción, es decir, que en la investigación nos permiten trabajar en una película, en un proyecto como estos. Entonces el esquema es muy parecido al cinematográfico. Yo estoy haciendo de director, Andrés en este caso también hizo director, usualmente está haciendo la parte de producción y de teatro, porque Andrés es actor también. Entonces, para los lip sync y todo eso él ha estado trabajando. Pero, por ejemplo, no hay texto, todavía, voces pues todavía no tenemos. La música está hecha en media, no está grabada por... O sea que está es puro working process. Pero tiene el encanto maravilloso el working process porque a mí me parece que los proyectos se parecen a las ruinas. O sea que las obras solamente tienen un tiempo para existir y en su punto mejor, luego se vuelven ruinas.
Yeah, the cityscape, I like to call it like Cali because I associate it with the cities of both Bogota and Cali. And it's in the University of Fine Arts in Cali, I work with young students, and as part of the course, we formed a production unit, and we so it's yeah, an aspect of studying film. I'm the director, and then Andres, he's an actor, but he's also in the production side. So yes, we still need to do some work on it. For example, there's no text, no voices, and the sound needs to be looked at. But it's a work in progress, and it's very exciting to have a work in progress. I associate it with ruins, which everything has its own, exists in its own time. So yeah, it's a work in progress.
Very interesting, very, very nice.
There you go, Rafa. Refill.
What?
A refill. I want service as well, refilling me the drink.
No, I had to go and get my own, but then my partner came back from outside and got my message and then got me a second glass of wine that I wasn't thinking on drinking because I used to do that. But anyway, it's on a vuestra salud.
Salud.
Guys, there's so much to talk about Carlos Santos animation. I wanted to, well, I don't know if to finish or not, but talking about this relationship, it unfortunately truncated by the quarantine, where we were trying to get together with Cine Toro. Obviously, you came over here last year. We went over there last edition of Cine Toro. The plan was to bring Andres Urzúa, the director of the festival, over in September to do a wee tour here in Scotland, talking about showing cinema in remote areas which normally don't have a cinema provision. But slowly, I mean, there's a kind of a brotherhood being set up here between some independent film pop-up cinemas or cinema exhibitors showing films in a different way. What do you think about that? How is Cine Toro evolving? What can you tell us about it?
Andrés continúa como ustedes intentando hacer el festival. Tenemos, pues ya me llamó para la curaduría y seguramente como estáis haciendo pues el streaming va a ser una de las formas, ¿no? Sí es una pena porque el festival es un festival rodante. Entonces sí llegaba, como tú dices, a lugares donde no llega el cine. El cine se volvió de clases medias y medias altas en los pueblos colombianos porque hay que transportarse a las capitales para ir a los centros comerciales a comprar crispetas y ver películas. Entonces es muy costoso. Ya la sala de pueblo se había ido desapareciendo. Entonces, en la medida en que, por ejemplo, en Toro Valle se hizo sala de cine en buena medida por el trabajo del festival y la sala está operando también con cine comercial, se volvió otra vez el arte popular de quien cruza la calle, compra una boleta, ve la película y se va. Y eso estaba pasando con otros pueblos, con la bicicleta rodante que proyectaba películas. toda esa parte humana que trae el cine, porque si vamos a hacer la comparación con la universidad, es lo mismo, la gente va a la universidad a estudiar, pero también va a conseguir novio, ¿me entiendes? Entonces esa es la parte que se queda por fuera. Pero continuaremos juntándonos, Rafa, pues yo creo que por ahí es la cosa, ¿no?
No, I can't wait to take a trip again back to Alameda in Cali. Hopefully, Coco and Carlos.
Andres is
Fiona.
really.
Yeah,
Andres is doing what you guys are really doing and trying to keep the festival going. And in fact, he's already called me to act as a curator. And I think we're going to rely a lot on streaming to get the films out there. And I think this is a real shame because this is a traveling festival that we have in Colombia. In Colombia, cinema has really become quite a middle and upper class activity because people have to go to, to where the cinemas are, and it costs a lot of money. A lot of the small cinemas have closed down. So this festival was really a way of bringing art to the masses because people could just, walk past and buy a ticket and come and see a film. And other projects have tried to do the same, like the one where there's a bicycle that goes around and it's able to show show films. It's a bit like going to university. People come to university to study, but they do other things also. They might meet their boyfriend. So yes, I think we'll carry on. It's important that we carry on and do what we can to stay together.
Indeed, no, and Carlos, it feels like, we were talking about the circus, and somehow what we have here is a circus. Cine Toro, there is another beautiful circus. So we're kind of part of the family of the circus, no? And we need to keep rolling.
And Fiona, come next year.
Fiona, sí.
Yeah.
Fiona unwillingly, but part of the flying circus, yes.
I lived in Bogota for 10 years, so I'm.
Really
love to go back.
Alberto, Fiona is not telling us everything. I told her yesterday.
She told me at least, or I listened when she said it.
So you keep secrets from me. No, Bogota was late. Unfortunately, when we were there were elections. So many places were closed and the situation wasn't the normal one. So the only day that we could go around, we went to Mercado de la Pulga, kind of a Sunday market and that, and it was great fun.
Yes.
And Alberto, I need to speak with you and Coco about that stamp, the 10th anniversary stamp for CinemaAttic. Because I check it and you got the email and I want to send it again.
Yes. No, we are working on it. Yes.
CinemaAttic is going too digital these days. We need going to Artefacto.
We are doing an artifact. I show you.
We need to get physical. Let's get physical.
Alberto is talking to us from his bedroom, so some respect.
Because we do artifacts like this one.
Eso, yo quiero un cacharrete como ese.
It's fascinating just to watch the movement through the digital lens of our cameras.
It's so cool, man.
Just the magic of cinema.
Totally. Carlos, last week on Thursday, Rafa, we met for first time since the quarantine started, and we were talking about 2019 and what we remember or what made 2019 a special year. And I think we both agreed. Since the quarantine started, I've been missing a lot that journey to Colombia and running in the streets in Toro or in Roldanillo, in the boulevard in Cali is. It was the highlight probably of 2019.
Yes.
No, yes. You should have stayed a few days. I know, obviously, your work is more on the office and I can work from the distance, which is great. But But yes, no, I can't wait. I can't wait to get you back over and to do more things together, because we had some days to take Andres traveling across Scotland, showing films from Colombia and talking. But there's no point on being sad or anything about this. It will finish eventually, and we will get back to our plans, hopefully, and we will do it all over again. But guys, if you want, I think we are well over time, and very happy to do so. So,
Yes.
if you want to leave it there, or do you have another question, Alberto?
Let's leave it there. Bailaremos más salsa.
Bailaremos más salsa, sí.
No sé yo no sé yo.
Y la ida al río te faltó, hay que ir al río.
Me faltó. Very little time in Cali.
Rafa casi se ahoga ya y todo.
Volveremos y bailaremos.
Dale.
Okay, thank you, Fiona.
Fiona, Alberto, Rafa.
Carlos.
Thank you so much, Carlos. Thank you so much, Fiona.
You're welcome. Okay.
That was
Bye.
a hard one.
Bye.
Enjoy your Sunday.
Bueno, pues that was our Vermut this week. Carlos, Alejandra, Fiona is part of the circus, as Alberto said very well. Alberto, very much so. And I do my best. I do my best to not get fired.
Me too.
You can only do your best.
Me too. Very complicated, you know. I feel my ideas are very difficult to translate.
If you don't understand them, maybe watch them again and again.
There's been a lot of demand. There's been a lot of demand, Carlos. Normally, people don't talk in the chat that much, but there was a lot of demand here to people telling, bring Carlos back to Scotland.
I must say, Fiona almost got as much attention as Carlos. This is something.
Diego lo agradece profundamente.
And remember, everybody, you can watch this Vermut in our website, in our YouTube channel, in Facebook, and we have the programs open while the films remain open. So it's not up to us, obviously, that's up to the directors and the distribution companies. But other than that, you can go back and watch it again, or watch it for the first time if you didn't have time in a sunny Sunday. And we are going to be here, same place, same time, in a week time.
For the last time. For the last time.
Vermut 12+1, specializing horror.
13, we're not suspicious here.
Yeah. Isn't it? No. Got that wrong? Yes.
No, it's not necessarily horror. There will be horror. There's always horror in some of our films. More subtle or not. But it's the last week. It's the end of the Cuarentena. We said 90 films. It's going to be 92 films. There is a bonus track next week. 8 short films. That will be the end. There will be a last Vermut, and we will let you enjoy your lives without CinemaAttic. Maybe it's more amusing.
Alberto, shut it. Carlos, thank you. Rafa, go.
Enjoy your Sunday, Carlos. Qué bueno verte.
Gracias. Chao.
Recuerdos para la familia.